and welcome to GenFreinds. I'm your host, Cheri Hudson Passey from Carolina Girl Genealogy, and I've got a great panel with me tonight. We've got Bernice Bennett from Genealogist. Hi, Bernice.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
So glad you're here. We've got the other Dan, Dan Earl. He's our family history guy. We're so glad. Do you still have it? The guy, not the guy they're talking about.
Not the Dan they're talking about. Yeah.
Yep.
On his title. We're so glad that you're here. And Melissa's back. She has just had some just one thing after another been going on Monday nights. And so Melissa's here, our archive lady, and we're so glad that you're back and talking. We are talking Realtor Race, and we are halfway done with season 10, which is amazing. You know, it just seems to go by so fast. And Melissa, since you have not been able to come on and talk to us about your thoughts about this season, we thought we'd give you a couple of minutes just to kind of let us know how you felt about season 10.
Well, it's been a different season, hasn't it?
Yeah,
than past seasons, and so I'm trying to get used to the differences. I'm a creature of habit, and so I kind of like things the status quo for the most part. Not very good about change, but it's been interesting. It's been really interesting. I've been thinking to myself about if I could get in a vehicle with a total stranger and go off through the country, and But I think they have such a common bond with wanting to find their families that I think that is really connected each of those teams anyway. And then you have the father and daughter, which they're connected, and
they're so cute together.
They are. So I've been really enjoying it. Like I said, it's been different. So especially with the taking of photographs now.
Photo challenge. That has really made a difference.
It has. I've had to remind myself each time I go to watch an episode, oh wait, it's a photo challenge, and so
it might change everything around, and it has a couple of times. It has changed.
Yes.
So so I think they do that too, because if it was the same every time, it'd get a little, you need some excitement. You need something to change things up a little bit. So they're always looking for something new. And I like the fact that they brought back some of the old challenges too. I think that's kind of been fun.
Yeah, I think in this episode, I don't know which team it was that said, I know that was a fan favorite, but it was not a fan favorite for me.
That was Scott on Team Green.
Yeah.
That's what he said. Yeah. I think being in one of those little hamster ball things would be really fun. Has anybody been in? Dan, have you ever done one of those?
No. I have.
You have?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a little bit smaller. There wasn't as much like room inside, or maybe I'm just bigger than the contestants. But yeah, it was kind of fun.
It looks fun to me. It looks fun. Yeah. So I can't believe we're at day 5.
I know it's gone fast.
I know I cannot.
It's really hard to believe we're at day 5. But one thing that I picked up, the artistic skills of each of the contestants when it comes to the pictures.
Yes.
Are really good. They can see things and provide different angles, and it's just been wonderful watching them. And that creativity that's going on in the head saying, well, let's do it this way and let's do it that way. I love that.
I love that too. And this week this week it was a portrait. They had to do a portrait. So I love that Team Red did the dog. I thought that was great.
That was an interesting picture of the dog. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Team Green did the guy with the long beard. Yes. Let's see. Team Black did the truck driver. Right. And who am I missing? Which one am I missing? Team Blue. Who did they? Oh, the family. That was really cute too.
The little girl and the dad.
Yeah, that was really cute.
I won't say which one won, but I am surprised that the one that won, it was the one that won.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised at the end. I was like, I won't say anything because it has at this point, because it has to do with the final results. But like, I was surprised at the one that wasn't my choice. Wasn't my choice.
It's interesting, and people are still not understanding that those are voted for in the spring. I still see things, people saying, I don't see where I'm supposed to vote. Well, you can't vote now because you know who took the picture and it wouldn't be fair for you to be able to vote now. So all the voting was done back in the spring. They just showed us pictures and they just said, choose which picture is your favorite. So we had no clue how this was going to be used on the show. We had no clue which team took the photo. So we just voted. So that's how that turned out. So let's talk about the teams leaving. I think my favorite thing that happened was Team Blue and Bill drawing that picture for Shawn's book.
Yes.
Yeah, so sweet.
Oh, it was so.
Yes, I wrote that, Bill said, and I'm grateful and blessed.
Yes.
Yes, I said, oh, how sweet, you know.
So sweet, you know, and so he's got all those photos in that picture that he drew. I mean, what a memory that's going to be for him. So I love that so much. And there's a lot of cooking that seems to go, you know, before they leave and things like that, and giving more photos. Team Green cooked brownies with the nephew Cody, so that was fun. I'm thinking brownies for breakfast. Okay, that sounds good to me. Sounds
got eggs, it's got flour. I mean, it's basically it's a chocolate pancake is what it is.
Exactly. Right. There you go, a chocolate pancake. And then Team Red, it was his sister Kara's birthday, Alex's sister Kara's birthday, and so they did a little birthday cake, and he sang her that song, and that was so sweet. That was really sweet.
Really sweet.
Yeah. So that was
It sounds to me like he listened to a lot of Bon Jovi.
Okay.
It was definitely picking up some Bon Jovi vibes with that one. Just like, oh, all right, that's good.
Pretty good. Yeah. So I'm trying to think when. And then of course everybody was making fun of Team Black because they got to get out of
Arkansas. Yes.
They actually got to get out of Arkansas the first time they've been able to get out of Arkansas and actually have a long drive and actually go and, you know, see if they're going to find somebody that they didn't know. So, and all the teams were giving them a really hard time about, let's see if you even know how to navigate outside of Arkansas. But I think at the same time, I mean, you can tell there's a lot of good camaraderie between those teams. They're really supporting each other. So, and again, to Melissa's point with, teams, the two teams that don't know each other, we're seeing a lot of support. We saw Blue Team as they're driving in the car, how Shawn was telling Curtis how much he appreciated him and his support, and you've seen that with both of them. And we've got Team Red, you know, Jamie's feeding Alex the ribs from the leftover dinner from the night before. I mean, just you can see them really bonding, and you know, I know that day one we were like, how on earth is this gonna work? But it seems to be working really, really well. So, and not even there were times in this show where they could have gotten really frustrated with each other, and they didn't. And so I'm wondering if it's less likely to get frustrated with somebody you're trying to be friends with than a family member. Because I think with a family member, you can do and say whatever you want because you're your family. And they're probably going to forgive you eventually, right? But
you know what, I wondered if they did some type of personality test, maybe to connect it to, because I'm telling you, I'm just watching the dynamics of the relationships. And I'm saying, this is just too good to be true. I mean,
I agree with you.
Curtis spends a lot of time listening, and reflecting. And I'm watching the same with Red. They are balancing each other off in such a way that they had to have made a decision to put them together because of something.
It'd be interesting if we could get somebody to let us know how they chose them to be to work with each other, you know, and how that idea came to be, you know, whose brilliant idea was, well, they don't have anybody who can go with them, but we can match them up with somebody else, you know. That was somebody
came up with that idea because they picked up something.
Yes. Yeah, and it was a leap of faith, I think, and it's working though. It seems to be really, really working. So
well, my question on that aspect is I wondered why they did that. I mean, you all may have covered it, but why did they do that? Did they not have enough
I don't know.
Of two, like a couple or married couple or a father-daughter, any other kind of connected, related couples or married couples. So they decided to do something like that had applied.
Yeah, I'd love to find out, because they haven't really said. I really don't know why they decided to do it that way, but
and it does make it interesting.
It does make it interesting. Although
I mean, yeah, because not only is it intriguing to watch the two teams that didn't know each other, but you know, it's just, you know, and it's funny to watch them as they come up to the relative, because you know, you don't know whose they are. And then I start feeling sorry because one is getting like 2 relatives in a row for them, and then the other one. And so you start, you know.
Yeah, I know. That's one thing that I've seen on social media. People say we like this, except for we feel like maybe they're missing out. Had they been with a relative of their own, they'd be getting a relative every time. And so, you know, there's got to be a reason why they did it this way. But I'm loving the support that they're giving to each other. You know, because they can understand what they're going through. So, and they seem to really be pumped up and excited about the other person when they find their relative too. They don't seem to stand back there going, oh, it's his turn this week. You know, you don't get that feeling.
Well, we've had it on other seasons too, like with the red team, where where the husband and wife are both adopted and they're both trying to find family.
You're right.
And even though they're married, I mean, it's fundamentally no different. They're not getting
You're absolutely right.
any more or less relatives if you're going with someone else. The only way that you get all of the relatives is if your spouse is not looking. And even then, sometimes they throw in something like with Black Team last season, right? And that was her journey, but they found relatives of his too, you know?
Exactly.
And so I, you know, I love the storylines. They're interconnected. They're, you know, there's some similarities in their stories. And it's just a neat way to weave a story. And maybe they didn't have enough relatives for this to be enough for all of them, but they really wanted to tell these 4 compelling stories.
Yeah, that's
but they just didn't have enough volume to stretch it out if it went to, you know, the whole
9 days.
The full 9 days. Maybe they just didn't have enough relatives that wanted to be on television, because that's the other thing. It's not just finding the relatives, it's finding the relatives that will sign a waiver, you know, to be on TV. So
that's a really good point. And so the easy way to solve that is to put the teams together. So yeah, that's a really good point. I like that.
Especially when they kind of cheat like they did today with Team Blue. I mean, there was a little bit of a cheat. There's just a little bit.
What was it? What was a cheat?
The number of relatives that they found at the door.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know, I think that's, you know, like, oh, well, it was 2 in a row, and then now, now he gets just like a gaggle of them. So.
That's right. They kind of threw them all. I see what you're saying. They threw them all.
Hi, I'm your aunt. I'm this. I'm your 13th cousin, 14 times removed, and they just put them all in one house. You know.
Put them all in one house. And we've seen them do that before too. Put a whole bunch of people in one house, which I think is really interesting. Let's talk about the challenge. Going into the challenge, Team Black had an advantage. They had for the challenge. And so when they get there, there's that hamster ball that we have seen before, that big old ball. And they were rolling. They had to get into that hamster ball and roll into the pins. And in the pins, the bowling pins, was cheese, little bits of cheese. And so once they knocked them over, they had to get out and collect the cheese, right? Except for they had to wear blackout glasses, so you couldn't see the cheese. So the person in the hamster ball was telling the person outside, or no, where they were, right? Because the person outside had the gloves on. And so, up, it's there, no, it's there, it's there, it's there. Team Black only had to have blurry glasses on. So they got that challenge advantage. And so it was easy for them because they saw the color. They could see the color of the styrofoam cheese. And so they got that really, really easy. But I think everybody had a pretty good time doing that, except for Team Blue.
Right.
Anybody want to talk about what happened to Team Blue?
Well, poor Shawn, I mean, he pulled a groin injury, and he was in a great deal of pain.
Yeah.
Curtis didn't know it because he ran ahead of him.
He didn't see what happened.
And then there was, you know, Shawn on the ground. It was so sad just to see that.
And I loved the way that Curtis handled that, because he could have gotten upset because Shawn said, I can't do this. This is a physical challenge. I hurt. I mean, he had ice on him, he says, I hurt. I don't think I can do this. And when you can't do a challenge, it's a 20-minute penalty.
Right.
20-minute penalty.
So I think this is where that they're not family comes in, because I think if it were family, and we've seen this in other seasons where people just go, well, suck it up, Buttercup, and do the challenge. Right? We're not taking a 20-minute penalty.
Yeah.
I don't care if you have to crawl, like, you will do this,
Yes.
And but Curtis, because there's that little bit of a distance, right? He can look at it rationally and go like, oh, I don't want to have this guy get hurt. He's my friend. I don't want that to happen. And it's a 20-minute penalty. Let's just get going, and make up that 20 minutes in a different way. So
exactly. Exactly. And I can't even imagine if you're the one that gets hurt and that has to happen, how bad you would feel, because you would feel like you mess things up for the day. But it happens. We see people get hurt every season. It seems like somehow somebody gets hurt. And so I'm glad it wasn't worse. And I hope that for day 6, when we see day 6, that he's back to normal and he's not having any issues, and whatever challenge they do, it's not going to be physical. So they don't feel like they have to
having
do
a giant ice pack.
Yeah.
He's limping away from the park. I was like, oh, poor Shawn. Like, come on.
I know. I felt so bad for him, but I love the way they handled it, and that just everybody's respect, I think, for Curtis went up even more, because he's just a very calm, peaceful, kind of very reflective guy, so perfect for Shawn to have with him. So, but I think everybody else had a really good time. I think they had fun. Team Red they were going for it. They were doing a great job. They really have a good time together. I think Jamie and Alex they just really enjoy each other's company, I think. And you could see that in the challenge. So what we don't see in the challenge, and we never have, is we really can't see who did number-wise, time-wise. We can't tell. The way they cut it, it looked like Team Red blew through that with no issues whatsoever. And it looked like Team Green had some issues, but really we never see the actual time that it takes them to do any of those things. So we can only watch and go, oh no, it looks like they had a hard time, or they went through it and didn't have any issues. So it's just the way they edit it and they cut it. So that's to keep us hopping, I think, so we can't guess at the end who's gonna win that day and who's not. So let's talk about Team Black, since this was amazing. This was the first time that they got to get out of Arkansas, and they got to go meet a relative that they didn't know. There was nobody in that room. There was nobody because last week there was somebody they didn't know, but then they had somebody that they did know come in. And so this is actually the first relative that they had met that they had no idea about. No idea. And so now they know what
even been to their store.
They hadn't even been to their store, right? Yeah. Had never been a customer.
I don't even think I remember him saying anything about Arkansas.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if he ever lived in Arkansas. Yeah.
And then I can't remember which scene was it that sent them the text and was teasing them about the fact, that they're probably going to help meet someone now that they haven't met.
Yes. I think that's so funny. I think that all the teams are in just shock that how their storyline is going, and so now they know how the other teams feel. When they get someplace and they come running out and they say, "How are we related?" Because before they're like, "Well, I know you, but how are we related?" So this was an uncle, younger brother of his father, and Jamie had never met him before. They had never met, and he had some really nice things to say about Jamie's father that I thought, how he looked up to him and how he was a fighter. And I wonder where in the journey they would have met Jamie's father. I know they met him at the beginning because they had to, because he was in the hospital, but I'm wondering where in this journey that would have played out. And hopefully it's going to play out where they would have met him, because he's better. They'll meet him on that day anyway, you know. But he found out some really interesting things. Does anybody want to talk about what he found out from this uncle, the pictures that he was shown? He got
he found out that he was the son of Jamie's grandmother.
Yeah.
From a second relationship.
But he showed him some pictures, and I guess that's what I was kind of
getting at. I remember the pictures.
Yeah, he showed him some pictures. He showed him a picture of his stepmother and his father.
That's right.
And he got really emotional with the fact that he has a stepmom, you know, because he was raised by his grandmother, and he just, I guess he had thought, you know, had I known who my father was all that time, I would have maybe had that other mother figure in my life. And then they were holding 2 little boys. So Jamie finds out he's got brothers.
Right.
Yeah, he's got brothers. That was very emotional for him, you know, very, very emotional. Yeah. And so I'm wondering though, okay, they all are from the same area. Are they going to go back to Arkansas, and he's going to find out that he's got brothers that he's known all this time and didn't know they were his brothers?
I thought about that.
Yeah.
Or are they going to be in Illinois or somewhere else?
Yeah, I don't know, because his father, his biological father, lives in Arkansas, right? So I would think that the son.
Didn't he go to at the beginning? Didn't they go to a hospital in Illinois?
Yes.
Oh, then I'm wrong. Then okay, I'm mistaken.
Oh, I don't remember where the hospital was.
Yeah, I don't remember where the hospital.
I thought it was in Illinois. I thought that's
maybe it was. Okay,
yeah.
You might be. I don't remember where the hospital was. Okay. Yeah. So, but it's still going to be interesting to see if it turns out to be people that, oh, you're my brother. If I went to school with you, I had no idea you were my brother, you know. But I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that he just meets these young men, these men that are his brothers, because that would be. It's been hard enough, I think, to find aunts and uncles and cousins that he already knew. But how difficult, how weird it would be to find out that this person that you've known all your life was your actual sibling, you know? So I'm kind of hoping he finds the sibling someplace else, you know, that he didn't know. Might be a little bit of an easier meeting. I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, if it's somebody that you already know, there's already a lot of baggage that comes with that. I mean, especially if they went to school together.
What if they didn't like each other?
Yeah, what if one of them bullied the other one, and you know, you're like, oh my goodness, like that was. I mean, that's normal with siblings anyway, but it's a different feel to it than when it's somebody else, and you know, that would be such a odd dynamic, but they seem to be handling odd dynamics remarkably well.
Very well, but he was saying, he says, this is so much for me to process. I think at the end of day 5, when they were interviewing him, he was having a hard time. He was kind of having a hard time with all of this, you know. And so hopefully he got a good night's sleep, and day 6 starts out a little bit better, and he was able to sit and talk things through and feel a little bit better. So it's just, it's a lot to process. And he's met a lot of people that he didn't know were his relatives. That's a lot to have to take in. So I can understand him almost like hitting a brick wall going, okay, this is a lot now. So hopefully they process that. They walk through that with him. They had somebody for him to talk to. And
well, you know, as I was reflecting on some of the other shows, this man actually grew up with a bunch of secrets.
Yes.
Because with all of these people already knowing him, but not saying anything, that's really hard to even process.
Exactly.
My grandmother knew that I was the grandchild, or, you know, how in the world is he processing this to say, how could I grow up around all of you and nobody said anything to me?
Yeah. And nobody said, I knew, but they all suspected, and they didn't go beyond that suspecting, you know? And so it's gotta be hard. It's gotta be really, really hard. So, but at the end, you know, he's finding out who his family is, and that's what he wanted, you know? So yeah. So anyway, let's hope it continues, and let's hope he has feels better on day 6, because I did feel kind of bad for him on as they were kind of talking to him at the end of day 5, how he was just feeling a little overwhelmed. So, but I'm glad he's with his son, because he can help him too. He can help him work through all of this. Okay, so Team Green, did y'all all know who the girl was walking out? Did you all go, oh, that's Mary?
Yep. I was like, if that's not Mary, then I don't know who Mary would be.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That was really fun. And Hannah was so cute when they got to it. She was so excited. We found it. She was so funny when they found the right address. I thought that was really, really cute. But it seems like with Mary, it seems like she didn't know their father until she was 13. She didn't meet him until she was 13. Mm-hmm. And they had that picture of her. So it doesn't sound like that he was around very often for her either. So that's another story.
But didn't Mary say there was a point in time when she knew about him?
Oh, she knew about him because she met him. Yeah.
She wanted to find him. She was looking for him.
Yeah. He was an absentee dad, is what she said. He was an absentee dad for,
right.
Yeah. And so she didn't have a lot to be able to say about him, but at the same time, she was compassionate about it. She says, as somebody who was kept away, and the way she said kept away from her child, which we know is Cody, and we don't know the story there, that she has compassion for her biological father, because she said she knows how it feels to be kept away from a child, and the walls you put up around those emotions. And so she said she didn't want to judge him because she wasn't quite sure what the story was there. So, and that her main concern was for Scott and how he felt. But Scott was telling her, I was raised by wonderful parents. This is not about me not being raised by wonderful parents. I just wanted to, see where I came from, see why I have these, habits that I have, and the personality traits that I have, and things like that. Where did I get these from? And he keeps talking about how he's expanding his family, not exchanging one for the other, so he's been real sweet with that. And even Alex commented on day 5 that he was grateful for the family that raised him as well. And it was the same kind of thing. He said, I always felt the odd man out, and I wanted to find out why I was so weird, I guess is what he said. And going on to Alex, when they got out of the car, I had a hard time at first thinking, this could be either one of them's relative. But then as she got closer, I was like, oh, no. This is Alex again. And he meets another sister that he had no idea.
Yep, he sure did, and I just love the fact that she was just so emotional with him. And and all of his family are just so wonderful. He talks about being the weirdo. And and it's funny because now I think when he gets to really know his family, I think he's going to figure out that he is not quite so weird after all.
That's true. Yeah, exactly. And she knew about him from the time she was 16. She said her name was Mia. Yeah. And she said, I've known about you and I looked for you. And, it's hard. It's hard, especially a lot of kids that come out of foster care and they're adopted as babies, their names get changed, because when you adopt a child that's your own, you want to give them the name that you've chosen for them. And so that hinders the process a little bit, because you don't know what the new name is to even look for them. And so that was part of the problem. But anyway, she was so sweet, and he was so excited to find a little sister. So now he's got a big sister and a little sister, and they're both daughters of the biological mom. So they're all from the biological mom. And he'd only seen the picture of when he was born and that time frame of his biological mom, but Mia showed him the picture of her now, what she looks like now. And the first thing he said, she's got that same crazy quirky smile I do. So I'm thinking we're going to see the mom, because she kept saying she very much wants to see you. So I have a feeling, because we haven't met any biological parents except for Jamie's, and only because he was sick.
Right.
So we haven't met any any biological parents yet. So we still have 4 more days. They better hurry up and get those parents in there because we've only got 4 more days to meet parents. So that's probably what's coming next for most of them. Anyway, so that was a sweet story too. And then we get to Curtis. Oh my goodness, that was so sweet.
That was so sweet. And it was interesting because it was the cousin and the sister.
That was so cute that the cousin went first.
Right, she went first.
I thought that was just like the drum roll. I'm your cousin,
right.
Oh, and I'm your sister.
But then another sister.
Yeah.
Shawn.
Yeah, via FaceTime because she had COVID.
Right.
But I'm glad they got to do that for him so that he knows. And the pictures of his biological father, every time they show the pictures, he looks so much like his biological dad. And I love that he was saying, look at him, he's got to coordinate from head to toe just like I do. And he says, I see things in his smile that I see in my smile, and his mannerisms and all those kind of fun things. So it must be so much fun to see somebody who looks like you, no matter how loved you are in the home that you were raised in, no matter how much you love those parents, but to see somebody who looks like you must be an incredible feeling, absolutely incredible feeling.
You know, what I also picked up was that the sister was 22 years old.
Yes.
As a child older than his sister, because he's 55. And I'm sitting there calculating, you know, wow.
Yeah, I have a feeling that there are a lot of siblings is the feeling that I'm getting is that's going to be a big family. There's a lot of siblings, yeah. Not just me, huh? I think there's a lot of siblings.
A lot. Mm-hmm.
But she was saying that the dad likes to, keep everybody in touch.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And Curtis was saying that he felt like if his dad had known that he existed, that his story may have been different,
Mm-hmm.
if he'd have known that he had existed. So, but anyway, so it was siblings night for day 5. They all met or found out about a sibling. So I thought that was a good thing. Day 5, everybody's got, here's a sibling for you, here's a sibling for you. Everybody gets a sibling, right?
Maybe next week is parent week.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe day 6 is parent week, right?
Oh, maybe so. Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful?
That would be wonderful. But
Bring
I
your
really
parent
want
to TV show day.
Yeah. I really want Jamie to meet his brother. So I hope that.
Oh gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we went into day 5 with everybody having a strike. So we knew that somebody was going to get that second strike. It's inevitable. I mean, they never just, well, I think in the history of the show, a couple of times they have had an episode where nobody got a strike. But I didn't see it coming on this one. I could tell that wasn't going to happen on this one. So,
well, what I was hoping, and I mean, I don't know why I wanted this to happen, but because of the injury to blue team, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was hoping that they would have on the side asked all the other teams if they could forgive the 20 minutes and just kind of go from there.
Oh,
I was hoping for that, but I didn't hear that. So
yeah. I guess maybe if it was the stakes were even higher than just a second strike, maybe they might have done something like that. Yeah. So that could be, but
I was kind of hoping.
Yeah. Well, and there's the photo challenge too that can always change everything. It changes everything every time the last minute. It's every week it has changed something. So so when the numbers came in, let me make sure I get it right. So Team Black came in number 1 2 weeks in a row. So they get a prize next week. They get to freeze time for 3 minutes. They get 3 minutes to, I don't know, what would you freeze your time for? I'm trying to think unless you're really having trouble in your challenge or trouble finding the address, maybe. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what they choose to freeze the time. I just don't know. guess it depends on if you get in a traffic jam maybe, or you just can't find the address, or car breaks down. We haven't had any cars break down, but they have 2 cars out there, so just switch cars. So that's good if something like that ever happened. We haven't had anybody going through a car wash like Joe. We haven't had, we haven't had anything like that happen. So I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see the gameplay on when they decide to use that freezing for 3 minutes. So anyway, so they came in number 1 again. And then we had Team Red come in second place. They're doing really well. They're just kind of staying in that pocket. Black and red are kind of just staying right up at the top for most of these. And then blue team, even with the 20 minutes, came in third. And green team, which was really shocking, I thought, even with that 20 minutes, I figured for sure they'd be in last place. And then Team Green comes in last place. And of course, then Dan's always, but wait a minute, we've got the photo challenge, right? And so Team Green wins it again. So they've won 2 photo challenges, and that put them into third place and put Team Blue into fourth place, which gave them 2 strikes. So we've got to really hope that on day 6 they don't get another strike, that the injury is healed and there's no issues or problems, because we want, as always, every season, everybody to stay on. We want everybody to make it to day 9, because we know then they're going to meet all their relatives, because day 10 is challenges, so that's the goal. That's that's what we root for every year, is everybody to at least make it to day 9, because we know that they get the information. They still get to meet those relatives, but we want to see it on air. We don't want to hear about it later. We don't want a Facebook post about it. We want to see it. We want to see those emotions and see their journeys. So, yeah, I think the next 4 days are going to be very interesting to see who they meet. And I'm rooting for Team Black to meet the brothers. And I'm rooting for the rest of them to be able to meet biological parents. That's who I'm rooting for the next 4 days. And then we'll have our challenge in day 10, and then it will be done again for the season. It's just amazing. So
yep, it really is.
Yeah, Dan.
I just thought about something for poor Team Black. I mean, now that they're related to the whole town, is everybody going to expect a family discount at the store?
Probably. I wonder.
Come on, I'm your cousin, Jamie. You gotta give me a discount.
That's funny.
Well, you know what? This may have been said because I haven't been here for a few episodes, but one of the things that it really came to my mind was, if I was in his shoes, I would think to myself, I really hope I've treated everyone in town well.
Yes.
It really is.
But he looks like the kind of guy that does.
I know.
Well.
But I mean, we cut people off in traffic, or things happen.
Oh yeah.
But and I hope I'm nice to everybody. But it really I was kind of like, oh wow, what if I find out that I was related to everybody in my town? And then I find out, oh, I wasn't very nice to that one, or I did that one, this, So
yeah. Exactly. It makes it and then he's got to come back and live in that town where the rest of the contestants get to go home, right?
Exactly.
None of them live that close. They don't live inside in the same town and have to see people in the store every day when they come in. So I think they're going to have a totally different dynamic when the show's over than everybody else.
Yeah. Well, and also on the other side of that coin is the fact that they're going to be able to be around their relatives that they've met almost on a daily basis, where the other ones will probably have to travel back and forth to see them.
Exactly. And we've seen that happen, where they've gotten together again and those types of things. And so you're right. They really do have a whole different dynamic. It's just amazing. And they're handling it well, except for, like I said, Jamie was just saying, I'm having a hard time processing everything right now. I'm having a hard time.
Well, anybody would, though. I mean, in any of these seasons, it's just it's funny, you can tell that they want this when they start out, but then when it just is more and more and more, it's difficult.
Oh, I'm sure. And it's so fast, and they have to leave the next day, and then they move on, and then they move on. So that's got to be hard too. So, but we sure appreciate them sharing their journey with us. You know, we appreciate being able to go along with them and see the ups and the downs and the, you know, who they're meeting and those family dynamics and sharing all that. That's got to be hard too, to know that people are watching your story, you know. So it's going to be a little difficult, but we're grateful. And we're grateful for BYU TV and for them putting relative race. And we're grateful for the producers of relative race and we've talked about this time and time again too, is how they've kept this show on a good level. You know, it's a feel good show and not a, you know, expose kind of show. You know, it's like Dan says, it's all about family.
That's right.
It's all about family. It's all about family. So, and speaking about Dan, again, we are, you know, with you, Dan, and we are hoping that you're feeling better, and we are continuing with our prayers and our thoughts and hoping all is well, and grateful for your not only producing this show, but everything you do to make the show run. And we love it when you meet with the teams and talk during that time period. We just love those emotions that come out. So you're a wonderful host for the show as well. And so at GenFreinds, we would like to remind everybody to keep Dan in your thoughts and your prayers, and for full healing for him. And so with that, is there anything else anybody else wanted to say about day 5? We're halfway done. Can't wait to see who else they're going to meet. So with that, we will see you next time on GenFreinds. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.